Senate Joint Memorial 2, the Greater Idaho bill, was introduced on the floor of the Oregon legislature by Republican State Senator Dennis Linthicum of Klamath Falls. It requests discussion between Oregon and Idaho governments regarding relocation of Oregon and Idaho border. Voters in 11 eastern Oregon counties have already approved ballot measures indicating their support for joining the state of Idaho. But how realistic is this? Well, here to talk about it is Greater Idaho Movement spokesperson Matt McCall. Matt McCall, welcome to Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thanks for having me, Ken.
Why should counties in eastern Oregon consider becoming part of Idaho?
Well, they should consider becoming part of Idaho because eastern Oregon is culturally, politically, economically much more similar to Idaho than it is to western Oregon. So our movement is a movement about self-determination and matching people to government that they want and that matches their values. So in Oregon, we've had this urban-rural divide for a very long time. Any of us that have lived in Oregon, and I was born here and have lived here essentially my whole life, we know that the west side of the state is very different than the east side of the state, and it causes this political tension because the west side of the state is so much more populous than the east side of the state that the west side dictates, it dominates state government and it dictates policy to the east side. That oftentimes doesn't make sense for the east side of the state and that they don't want and they don't feel makes their communities better. So our proposal is to take that border between Oregon and Idaho, which was set almost 200 years ago in a very different time when there was only 50,000 people in the entire state of Oregon. It was put where it is then. It made sense then. It doesn't make sense now to have that border there because that's not where the cultural divide is in our state. We're proposing taking that border, moving it westward to the Cascade Mountain Range so that eastern Oregonians can get state-level governance from Idaho, which much better matches their culture and their values than Western Oregon does.
We're taking a look at the map right now, and it basically encompasses almost 2/3 of the state. So do you really hope this will happen, or are you just trying to make a political point here?
No, we wouldn't be doing this, Ken, if we didn't think this was a good idea and we didn't want it to happen. So you're right. We're talking about 63% of the landmass of Oregon with these 15 counties that we're proposing to move. Of that 63% of the landmass, it's only 9% of Oregon's population. And that's just a perfect example of how different Eastern Oregon is than Western Oregon. It's a completely different culture, and the policy in the government that works for Western Oregon, that Western Oregonians want, does not work in Eastern Oregon, and it's not the government that Eastern Oregonians want. So we absolutely believe this is possible. You know, a border is just an imaginary line that's placed somewhere to group similar-minded people and make their lives, their communities better. The border between Oregon and Idaho has been there for almost 200 years. It no longer makes sense. We can move that border to a place that makes far more sense, get people on both sides of the state government that they want, and reduce the political tension in our state by getting people the government that they want.
We just spoke with Senate President Rob Wagner, and he says this bill probably will not go anywhere, but it does indicate that the people in the western part of the state do need to talk to the folks in the eastern part of the state and take their concerns seriously. So what do you say about that reaction to your bill?
Well, we would hope so. Our bill, the process for moving a border any border can be moved. Like I mentioned, it's an imaginary line. A border is a tool for the betterment of people. So any border can be moved. And in fact, Oregon and Washington slightly moved their border in 1958. It needed to be shored up where exactly it was in the Columbia River. So the process is for two states to get together, and it's called an interstate compact, and they decide where the border is, doesn't make sense. It would make more sense to put it here. Those two states, if they agree, then they write up an interstate compact, a contract about where that would go and all the details that would go with that. It would go to the U.S. Congress and get signed off. So where we're at now, we've been spending the last 2 years going to Eastern Oregon counties and asking voters directly, do you want your elected leaders to look into this? And what we're seeing is when we actually ask voters, do you want to look into moving the border? Do you want to look into changing state level governance? Voters are saying yes, and they're saying yes pretty overwhelmingly. Our votes out here in Eastern Oregon aren't close. They're not 51-49. We're winning 61-39 and 59-41. People want this solution to be looked at by our leaders. So Senator Linthicum has introduced a bill in the state Senate, and that bill is basically asking the Idaho legislature to begin talks. And we have a bill in the Idaho legislature that's ready to be introduced as well, inviting Oregon to begin talks. So we would ask Senate President Wagner to move that bill forward. The people in Eastern Oregon are asking our elected leaders to look at what it would mean to change the border and change their state governance. And we would ask Senate President Wagner to move that bill forward. Let's have this conversation. Let's hear the people out and advocate for what they want.
We've got about a minute left in this interview, but what about the logistics of this in terms of government, in terms of benefits, in terms of the things that the legislature does for Oregonians now? Does Idaho really want to take that on?
Well, all of those things will be negotiated out. So when you have an interstate compact, right, the governance in Idaho is very different than the governance in Oregon, and that's part of the reason why people in Eastern Oregon see the governance in Idaho, and they say we want that governance, not the governance on the west side. We have been to the legislature in Idaho. We have a lot of support in the legislature in Idaho for this idea. They see the benefit of bringing 400,000 like-minded people into their state. It makes Idaho stronger. It gives people the government they want, and it's a win-win for everybody involved.
We'll follow this and see what happens. Matt McCall with the Greater Idaho Movement. Thanks for joining us on Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you, Ken.